Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Tuesday edition of the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. Dan Labbe with Mary Kay Cabot and Ashley Bastock. Quite an eventful Tuesday here on the Browns beat. I don't know that any of us necessarily expected everything that happened today regarding Greg Newsome. We're going to kind of get into the whole Greg Newsome situation, whatever we want to call it, as we go through this pod. But just to recap a little bit of what happened, Greg Newsome, the Rosenhaus Sports Agency tweeted out that they now have Greg Newsome back as one of their clients. It's the third time he's changed agents. The second time he's gone with Rosenhaus. Then there was a report that Greg Newsome had asked to be traded. It was quickly debunked, but of course it became a whole ordeal. It created more stories basically saying that Greg Newsome had not asked to be traded. So, Mary Kay, that sometimes there's just days like this on this beat where crazy things happen. The Browns didn't really do anything today, but they end up being kind of the biggest story of the day in Cleveland.
Yeah, and you know what? Can you just take a few days off for Easter weekend to go visit a family member in Quebec City? I was flying home after visiting my daughter in Quebec City. And, you just want to, get home and have everything be calm and take a couple of days, enjoy a trip. And, just the Greg Newsome stuff's just flying all over the place. And of course, you did a great job writing the stories, Dan. But, it's just not something you wish would be happening when you're going through customs and you're trying to keep up with what's going on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. But I will say that when I was out in Phoenix for the Super Bowl and during Super Bowl week, and Greg Newsome tweeted unequivocally no to a fan asking him if he was open to playing inside. I knew from that minute on that was not going to be the end of the story, that this was going to have more layers to the story. And he doubled down on that a couple times. And now here we are. He's back with Drew Rosenhaus. And, again, it's his third agent switch since he was drafted in 2021. And that's a lot. I mean, that really is a lot. But as of right now, it seems like all is calm. Greg wants to be here. He's hosting the big old softball tournament on June 24th. And there's no trouble in paradise, apparently.
Yeah, no trouble in paradise. Maybe we won't be saying that at the end of this podcast as we talk through all of this. But yeah, Ashley, everybody's playing nice right now. I do think the thing about it, though, kind of based on everything that's happened, and this goes back to one of his last media sessions, even before the Super Bowl. Mary Kay, you and I were asking him about playing inside, and he wasn't as definitive, but you could tell that he didn't really love it. I guess part of it is this, even though the report was not true, it felt believable to an extent. Like you could see a situation where Greg might say, you know what, they told me I have to play inside again and I won out. Now there's circumstances, the Browns have complete control over Newsome for the next 3 years, but there is a world where you could see that being the case, where he does something like that.
Yeah, and I think adding to the initial believability, if you want to call it that, of the thought of him potentially wanting a trade, every time it seems like he's tweeted this offseason, that's come up, or he's responding to a fan asking him about whether he would want to play outside. He's tweeting N-O in capital letters and retweeting Perry on Winfrey and doing all these things despite this normally being a time when he would be taking a social media break. So I think there had been this perception about him that he had been publicly disgruntled maybe, but I do think there is something to the effect of, and I think we've talked about on the podcast before, I don't know, it'll be interesting the next time Greg talks, because I think sometimes when you are in your 20s, you might just kind of be out there tweeting. And there's a very real world where a normal 23, 24-year-old is using Twitter kind of to express every thought that's in their head and not really thinking about it at the time, right? And that it might not be something that is set in stone or super meaningful, and it's just a thought in the moment. So I'm I don't know how much of it is that, how much of it is very, him doubling down on not wanting to play inside anymore. But it's definitely, obviously, I think at this point, something to keep an eye on because it's come up so much since that locker cleanout day.
Yeah, so Ashley makes a point there, Mary Kay.